Greetings from the shadows. Before my usual introduction, I want to start making these type of videos. Something I'm going to make like once many moons. And well, today we are going to talk about my favorite faction. My main faction in horusheresy Legions. And why you should or shouldn't play them. The 19th Legion, the Ravenguard. Do you like My Chemical Romance and think Linkin Park best era was early to mid 2000s? Do you like to attack and hide, even if many consider you a coward? Do you like temporary protection from one single turn? Then, my friend, the Ravenguard faction is for you. The Ravenguard is characterized by having low health, which makes sense. This legendary massacre of Eastbound 5 and the entire then Horus Heresy survived as best they could, and through this war, they were battled by multiple factions, including Alvarius himself. So taking that into account, how do this card defend themselves? Simple stealth. Stealth is a mechanic that few factions possess, but the Ravenguard abuses the most of it, having anti-stealth and stealth recovery tools, and many other tools to save themselves if everything goes bad during matches. But that's one of Ravenguard's mechanics. Another one is ambush. Ambush activates when your troop loses stealth on your turn, triggering an additional effect. Okay, now I go straight to the point. The main source of this faction is sentence. Sentence. This means that after a target with sentence takes damage, it receives a bonus damage based on how much sentence it has. If it has one sentence, the enemy will take one additional damage. If it has two, it will take two, and so on. This is the best part of this faction because it's abusable, and quite abusable, I say. You can give the enemy warlord's health in half in a single turn with no much effort. Assuming your opponent doesn't have these specific cards in hand or on the field, even though I'm telling you the Ravenguard is a broken faction that you can abuse, the reality is that their combos are quite easy to counter, especially if you only have one turn on the field. That's one of the negatives of Ravenguard. Most decks might have absolutely nothing to play in field in early turns, and the only thing they will play is after having 5 energy. Yes, I know that makes them slow to play, but don't confuse it. That's the magic of the Ribbon card. Having to take damage by yourself and in your few turns, then demolish your opponent. That's right, you bait them. Just as you heard, you made the enemy waste resources on insignificant cards so that when you bring the heavy hitters, they can do absolutely nothing. Let's talk about the warlords of this faction. We'll start with the Emperor's Less Remembered Son, and the most underrated among the loyalists Primars, but not the first man is Corvus Corax. If you haven't seen the man report for a while, you'll see his name somewhere. That's how good he is. Imagine Lorga but better. He has two abilities in one, just like Lorga, but he can summon one cost troop. But the best part is his second ability. This Basta is a walking stealth recovery tool. He can grant stealth to a random friendly troop after using his first ability, which is recommended to use with your best troops in play. And he has the best threat in the entire game. Unstoppable. Fierce Light doesn't affect him at all. He will still attack the enemy warlord head on. Without a doubt, he's the best warlord of this faction. But he has a slight problem. The drop power. Yes, all warlords from the Eastbound Drop Psych Massacre expansion have a terrible drop power. But they compensate this with many cards. This is also a problem for Ravenguard, but I could talk about the solution of this problem. So let's talk about the second best warlord, Agapito Neff. I won't touch Gervan Randy or Brain Neff for obvious reasons, and I don't want to repeat myself, but Agapito, this guy is the faction's draw power impersonated, and the one who most openly abuses Sentence. Every time a troop dies from this, you draw a card. You see where this is going. Agapito is focused on the faction second mechanic, and he's quite good at it. I have videos how he plays, and you'll see the code of the faction that he is. Now we are talking about the budget corpus. Just when we are talking about the faction's rare wallow, we're talking about neither the best nor the worst option. In the case of this OC made by Evergill, he's actually good. His ability deals 2 damage if the target dies, he grants stealth to a random troop. And he has a purple card for 2 energy that deals 5 damage to a troop. It's an incredibly useful tool, by the way. In fact, just like Gerber's, having sentence and damage cards are a perfect fit for him. Now, with all this said, what are the legendary cards that you must have in his deck? Almost all of them, with no exception at all, except Primal Center. That cards are Templos and it's not worth spending on. Yes, all ordinary cards are necessary. Even the mission. If you want to play Capito, yes, Agapito is a mission deck, so you will need this card. And you will need it. The epics you must have are Unseen Strike, Chieftain Kaden, Obscurus, Void Dark Furies, and Saya Ruben. Also, Chicken Glaive is also essential. The rest of the epics aren't necessary, and the rares and common cards, it's better to have them than have none of them. With all that out of the way, let's talk about the most important part of any faction in Horses Legions, the aesthetics. And then do they shine here? They have really good art, even the elements of this faction that can be found in Shadow Legions have a good art too. Which I owe a bit about them because I would like to discuss them. And with all this said, if you want to fight for freedom and justice while listening to the end in the background, then the Ravenguard is for you. If you don't like playing high risk, high reward troops, then play just the current meta faction. And with that, I end the video. With all that, I'm done. Whoa, that was a lot of work, and it certainly took effort. But I had to make this one talk about the faction whose lore in the heresy is a walking tragedy and whose symbol is justice of the oppressed. And yes, I know it sounds ironic considering what the imperial mankind is like, but there's nothing I can do about it. I hope you like the video. I'll make more of this when I can, and they require much more time and preparation than the videos I usually upload. And with that, I'll see you in the shadows. Goodbye.